Tom Brady is just days away from his 8th Super Bowl, and we got a little insight into how he prepares. Take a look and say, what?
And I could literally, just watch film all day. It's almost like soothing, because I've been doing it for so long. I can just go 4 or 5 hours without getting up from this chair.
I like it. That Tom versus Time, if people haven't watched it, I thought it was going to be just an infomercial, and maybe it is a bit of an infomercial, but
it's a good peek inside into what has driven arguably the greatest of all time.
Man, and it is, and you can see, he's not wasting many hours in the day. Like in the latest episode, CC, at the tail end of it, they show he's doing some type of commercial for a car company.
Right.
They come to his house. He's in there watching film. They're like, all right, we need you. He's going as quick as he can. It is not an act. He is all in on trying to extend this as long as he possibly can.
Yeah, to me, there are a lot of quarterbacks like this. There's a lot of players like this. There's a lot of athletes like this. We just haven't seen it. Tom Brady being the GOAT as far as the NFL, it's great insight to see. But the training techniques and what people do, the overall sacrifice that people that are high achievers, what they do, you should be shocked. But their drive to be good or to be great, it supersedes their talent. See, the greatest of all time, they have great talent, but they have tremendous work ethic, and they're willing to sacrifice more than the other. One of the things I used to say that separated me from other players is I'm willing to do what the other guy won't do. And that's what you're able to see with Tom Brady and a lot of the other greats. So not only Tom Brady.
If we had a show Drew versus Time, meaning Drew Brees, we're seeing a lot of the same stuff.
There is no doubt. There is no doubt. Drew Brees is probably having a little more fun, as you can see on the Pro Bowl sideline with them little bad kids.
Okay?
There's a few kids.
Now,
He's got into it a little bit.
Send me a letter, okay? Call me. Try to get me, all right? Yeah, them little boys. What's wrong?
That was great, by the way.
I thought it was adorable.
And he scolded him after he grabbed one of them. He's like, I told you.
We do the same thing. I do the same thing. All right,
Get your butt back up in this thing.
Time for some stories to start your morning. The Cleveland Indians announced they will no longer use the Chief Wahoo logo on their uniforms starting in 2019. Nick, what was your reaction to the decision?
Long overdue, but glad they're doing it. That is an obvious racist caricature that the fact that it was still a major sports team's logo in the year 2017 and now 2018, I'm only laughing because it's so absurd. Native Americans have been marginalized enough in this country. I'm glad that they no longer have to look at that laughable caricature as a logo of a professional sports team.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed they didn't do it in 2018. Like, why we got to wait a year? Like, why we have to see something so offensive for another year? Like, we've made the announcement that it's offensive. You know something? So I'm just going to let people go through another year of it being offensive compared to just changing the uniforms right now. Like, you made a decision, it's offensive. It's still going to be offensive for another year. Let's just change it.
All right, to the NFL now. Nick Foles will be appearing in his first Super Bowl on Sunday, and his owner has some kind words for him. Jeff Lurie said he won't even call Foles a backup because he had him evaluated as a very strong quarterback. That was part of Lurie's decision to spend $12 million on Foles for 2 seasons. CC, how do you see Foles' future playing out?
This is funny. He's a backup. He could probably be on the starter somewhere else, but you're going to get backup results. Backups, what do? They're inconsistent. Backups, what do? They have less arm talent, all right? And their ability to perform at a high level, consistency is what they can't do. Now, Jeffrey Lurie, now, much respect, you're in the Super Bowl, but now you're breaking down tape. That's why we signed him in this offseason. That's why I gave them $6 million as a back. You know, what about Howie Roseman? Howie's doing all the picking the players there. But, Jeff, just stay where you are in the owner's about your starting quarterback in the Super Bowl, buddy, is a backup.
Well, and one of the reasons you can give him $6 million a year over 2 years is because Carson Wentz on a rookie deal. Like, you're still spending less money on your quarterback position as a whole than most teams in the league because Carson Wentz is on such a good deal, given that he's your starting quarterback. I will say this, Cece, you mentioned earlier when the coach says starters on the field, Nick Foles is typically standing on the sideline.
Yeah, he know to move back.
He sometimes forgets. He'll be there on Sunday.
I'm not sure that will be the case for him September of next year. If they win Sunday, or even if he just plays well Sunday, even if they lose, if there's a quarterback injury, similar to how we saw Philadelphia trade away Sam Bradford right before the start of the season, I think Nick Foles will be a guy people will call about.
I think it's not smart to trade away a guy who's a proven backup when your quarterback has a torn ACL, MCL, and a broken leg. I don't think that's the right.
Well, it would only be, again, you're right, if Carson Wentz isn't healthy yet. I agree with you. It's if Carson Wentz is back to full strength.
Well, he's not going to be full strength in training camp. He's going to miss time, so you need a veteran.
All right, finally, again, back to the Patriots. Brady and Belichick preparing for the 8th Super Bowl as a tandem. However, one coach had some disparaging comments to say about the duo. Steve Spagnuolo, who served as the linebackers coach for the Eagles when they played the Patriots back in Super Bowl 39, he accused New England of stealing signals during the game. Take a listen to this.
And I remember through the course of the game, Jim saying, they're getting our signals. They know when we're blitzing. They're getting our signals, try to hide it, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember distinctly thinking, Jim, I don't think that's true. Now, I'm not saying this to him because I don't want to upset him, but I'm saying to myself, I don't think so, Jim. Just concentrate on, calling the game. But he, in hindsight, he was right. When you go back and look at that tape, it was evident to us. I'm not crying over spilt milk here, but we believe that Tom knew when we were pressuring, because he certainly got the ball out pretty quick. But, you got to play the game, and they won that particular day. But there's no question, I wouldn't have let that happen in the 08 Super Bowl after the 07 season. We made sure we had 2 signal callers, and we were protecting against that.
That is actually the definition of spilled milk.
Crying over spilled
that's
milk?
exactly basically what he was doing. What do you think, CC? Will the stigma of cheating follow the Patriots at this point wherever they go?
It depends on how you feel about the Patriots. Like, if you love the Patriots, you're a Patriots fan, no, it don't mean that much. If you're a fan of the NFL, you've been following NFL history, it will mean a lot. It will always be with them. Me being the latter of the two, all right, I got respect for people who are high achievers. I have respect for people who have done well, but I know too much information that, yes, it is a part of the story. It's not the totality of it, but, yes, all their success will not be wiped away. Now, as far as stealing signals and things like this is something that is very common as far as on a game day. But I watched that video where Spagnuolo was talking about in the Super Bowl. 3 of the 5 plays that we showed there, 3 of them were man-to-man. The cornerback, the defense called man-to-man. Why didn't the corner guard him? So New England's wide receiver got open, and the Philly guy didn't guard him. So now they're making an excuse that they knew our signals. Well, the cornerback was in man. Why didn't he cover him? The Vrabel touchdown, they were in zone. They had it covered perfectly. He was open. They made a good throw. Like, all these plays explain why they had success. But the lack of coverage or lack of someone being, I'm going to win this battle, it leads to people saying people cheat. I used to steal people's signals on the sign all the time. Guy says something on the field. Just the word stealing just brings a negative connotation. It is gamesmanship. When you're on the field, you can utilize everything that doesn't have technology to try to get more information about what they're doing. And they say a lot of things that you have to take in to make adjustments for. Look at Tom Brady in Tom versus Time. He talks about people's body language, what they do, tips,
tells,
things that give him information so that he can make a decision quicker.
If you used the word learning instead of stealing, then it would sound almost complimentary. Like,
well, you can't say learn it when they got also videotape from Spygate.
Okay, well, that's the distinction I was about to draw. Like what Steve Spagnuolo is talking about there is nothing wrong with that. I think it's a positive. I think you should get a pat on the back for it. If you are smart enough to, during a game, figure out, okay, when they say sky, it means this. When they say this, it means that. When the D tackle is leaning forward, God bless. Like, the only way I would feel like the Patriots cheated in the Super Bowl against the Eagles if we found out they had poisoned Donovan McNabb's Gatorade, and that's why he was throwing up on the final drive of the game. Like, what they did in that game is inbounds. But the other stuff, the Spygate and then Deflategate, where twice the league office has said, hey, we did a full investigation. And guess what the result of it is? First round pick, give it to me. First round pick, give it to me, and your quarterback can sit 4 games. Like, of course that follows them. And they earned that. They earned that It's going to sound weird. They earned that honestly, or dishonestly, as I guess the phrase maybe works better. The Patriots are the greatest football dynasty I've ever seen. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. Bill Belichick's the greatest coach I've ever seen. All of those things can be true along with this. Part of their football obituary is involved in 2 of the larger cheating scandals of the 21st century in the NFL, where they lost draft picks for it. Like, that will follow them, and it should follow them.
Yes, and you do have a competitive edge if you were able to get what defense or what plays they were signaling in, and if you use some type of equipment, either videotaping them, either you videotape the cards that they use, or you videotape their signs and you go over them after the game. Because there have been coaches with Belichick that left Belichick. And when he decided with Coach Mangini, with the Jets, because that was Spygate, when he decided to do some of the same tactics that he had utilized before, that Eric Mangini had been there and had known them, and Mangini warned him not to do them, and he told him basically, go blank yourself. Right. That's when the investigation started. So the Spagnuolo thing in Philadelphia is after Spygate. Right. So you just can't disregard it. When somebody, it's like you've been caught stealing, and then now all of a sudden you go in the store and something is missing. I need to question you based on your past.
Right. That's fair. That's fair enough. But if it was independent of that, if it was just what you've described, learning stuff during the game, you don't consider that cheating.
No, that's not cheating. No, that's what's called gamesmanship, utilizing everything around you to be able to try to get better in real time.
And like you said, that's exactly what Tom Brady was referring to in the video. Watching tape, picking up on defensive cues.
Yeah, but Spygate, they was watching tape of the signal.
They were actually
watching tape they weren't supposed to have.
I can do this all day.
Right.
Let me know what coverage. They're in cover 2? Okay, no problem. I can watch this all day.
All right. Moving on, after years of discussions, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is revisiting the catch rule, much of it stemming from a play in which Steelers tight end Jesse James was ruled to have dropped a potential game-winning touchdown against the New England Patriots. Then another overturned touchdown by Kelvin Benjamin a week later. Goodell discussed this concern on The Herd yesterday. Take a listen.
I'm not just somewhat concerned, I am concerned. We just had 5 Hall of Fame receivers and several coaches come in just 2 weeks ago to focus on the catch-no-catch rule. You want there to be clarity from an officiating standpoint, a coaching and a player standpoint. They know what it is, what it isn't. I think here you might have clarity in a large element of it, but then what happens is it's not the rule that people really want.
So, CeCe, you were actually one of the few Hall of Fame wide receivers who were invited to this meeting with Roger Goodell to talk about the catch rule. There were some coaches there as well. Tell us a little bit about the meeting and what was discussed.
Yeah, I've been very, very fortunate that when they decided to change the rule a couple of years ago, I was involved. I was on the committee that helped get the rule to where we are now. Very, very fortunate with the NFL, the relationships I have there. In such respect for the game and trying to get this right. And it's really more about the fans, so the fans get a clear understanding. One of the biggest problems is in just the fans have not adopted what the catch rule is now. So the biggest problem now is going to the ground. So people who think they know NFL football, they think they knew what a catch was. But they never bought into you must survive the ground. So it was hard for them to ever look at the NFL rules and be like, you know something? I believe in the rule. So if you believed in the rule, you would know what a catch is. But if you don't believe in the rule as far as surviving the ground, you're going to have a hard time with Jesse James, with Kelvin Benjamin, because of these catches also with technology, with the frame-by-frame replay. The referee's at a huge disadvantage. Like, he's trying to call the best what he can do in real time. But the ability to be able to survive the ground, that terminology, I believe will be changed, because that's the most complicated part of it. Now, I'm not for making the greatest game easier. I'm not for, because we're throwing the ball more than any other time in NFL history, and very successfully. So my argument was, we're successful at doing this. Why would we change it so much? And a lot of the reason has to do with the interpretation of what the rule is. So we're still going to have a problem with people knowing what a catch is, even after we change the rule, because people think they know what catching the football is, and they really don't. So we're trying to make it simpler for the fan.
And I think there are some people, I would put myself in that category, I know the rule. I know what is, according to the rule, a catch and what is not a catch. I understand that Jesse James is not a catch, but just think the rule should be changed. Like, there are some people that look at it and say they got it wrong. We argued about it for 2 hours the day after. I never thought the refs got it wrong. I thought, okay, in the offseason, this is
so now every rule that we don't like, let's change it.
Well, this is a rule, unlike some of the others, that they had a meeting about discussing whether or not they should change it. So that's the question I have to you. Do you think next year a play such as the Jesse James catch or the Jesse James play will be called a catch?
There's a hard time changing the rule. We're not going to change the rule for one play. The Jesse James play is one of many plays that are in the discussion. It is not about Jesse James, because there's a part of football that people don't understand. And part of that has to be extending the ball across the goal line. People don't understand the concept of, they think that every time someone has the football, they think a running back is just like a wide receiver. And he's not. A running back has possession of the football when the quarterback hands it to him. The transferring the quarterback possession to the running back. It's immediate. As soon as his hands touch it, we give him. It's no real time and a move. It's not like a wide receiver.
How is that different from a wide receiver?
Wide receiver, you have to have the ball in your hand, one or two hands. You have to have either 2 feet or one body part and time or a football move or something that's common to the game.
And the Jesse James play, the reason it didn't qualify as falling is, what's the example you used in the meeting?
When you fall in the NFL, it's not something that's common to the game. You fall off of a bar stool. All right, you can't give a guy a catch when he's falling. That was the problem with the Dez Bryant. So I just believe people have a hard time interpreting it. We have heard fans, and we're trying to make it easier. But there's still going to be problems because people, they don't know what they're seeing. They really don't. So it's still going to be a struggle.
All right. Good stuff. Coming up, our last segment. Will we ever see a dynasty like the Patriots again? We'll break that down next on First Things
And
First.
a huge NBA trade. A lot to do.